Okay, students, today's topic for your class is chloroplast. So, the chloroplast is the green structure which are found in the leaves of all the green plants, and some algae which are multicellular, they also contain chloroplast. Single cellular algae also like Chlamydomonas, they also have chloroplast. So algae and plant kingdom have chloroplast in their cells. As you can see in this picture, this green dots are chloroplast. Each cell contains many chloroplasts, spherical dots. Now, the chloroplast was first described by the Nemia Grew and Antony van Leeuwenhoek. Chloro means green, plast means living, so green living material. So the main component of the chloroplast is chlorophyll, which is a green pigment. Due to that, plant gets the green color. Chloroplast is present, as I told, in plants and some these algae eukaryotic cells, and chloroplast is responsible for photosynthesis. Now you see that there are the other type of plastids also. So these things which give rise to chloroplast, the cells which give rise to chloroplast are called proplastid. So the proplastid can also give rise to other kind of plastids, of which chromoplast is of red color, amyloplast which are starch containing plastid, and the third is etioplast, which are light which are there in the non-green part leaves of the plants, like when the plant leaves are in the dark or under the soil. So mostly the irreversible from plastid, as I told, all these other kinds of from proplastid, other kinds of plastids appears, but sometimes the irreversible or interchange also happens. For example, during the fruit ripening, chloroplast turns into chromoplast, for example in tomato, and when the starch grains appear in the grains of these plants like cereal plants, rice and wheat, then chloroplast convert into amyloplast. And so chloroplast do not convert into etioplast. Rather, proplastid convert into etioplast in the dark, and then etioplast convert into chloroplast. So the functions of chloroplast, as you can see in this slide, are photosynthesis, lipid synthesis, starch metabolism, pigment synthesis, amino acid synthesis, and they also have their genetic system. Now, ultrastructure of the chloroplast. So chloroplast comprises of two membranes, outer membrane and inner membrane. The outer membrane contains TOC complexes, which are translocation cones of outer membrane. So the matrix, the outer envelope contains Toc complex, inner envelope contains Tick complex, which together forms the translocation complexes. That means these channels or pores transport the proteins which are formed into the cytoplasm inside the chloroplast. So the inner portion of the chloroplast, where fluid is there or jelly-like material is there, is called matrix. Not matrix. Matrix in mitochondria. Here it is called stroma. But matrix means fluid, so sometimes it can also be called matrix. So in the chloroplast, as you might be knowing, photosynthesis takes place. Photosynthesis have two components. One is light chain and second is dark reaction. Light reaction and dark reaction. So light reaction happens in the thylakoid membranes and dark reaction in the stroma of the chloroplast. So dark reaction means CO2 fixation or reduction of the CO2 to form glucose, and light reaction produces the ATP and NADH2 required for this reduction. So to perform this light electron transport, the proteins are present into the thylakoid membranes. Thylakoid membranes are flattened sac-like lamellae, flattened disc arranged one above the other to form grana. In one grana there may be 40 to 60 thylakoids, and there may be 40 to 60 grana in one chloroplast matrix, chloroplast stroma. So this flattened discs are also connected with each other through another type of thylakoids, which are called interlamellar thylakoids. So lamellar thylakoids and interlamellar thylakoids. As you can see in this picture, these are the grana, stack of thylakoids, and these are interconnected through intergranal lamellae, and the cavity inside this thylakoids is called lumen. So lumen is also very important as far as photosynthesis is concerned, because in the electron transport chain, the hydrogen ions are pumped inside the lumen, and during this process a proton gradient is found. In stroma, hydrogen ions are less. In lumen, hydrogen ions are more. Thus, this proton gradient is utilized to form ATP by ATP synthase enzymes, which is an enzyme complex. So this I already told you. Photosynthesis have light reaction which produces ATP and NADH2. Sometimes they write it NADH plus H or NADH2 or NADPH2. In mitochondria it is NADH. Here it is NADPH, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate. If it is H is written, that it means reduced, and if there is no H, then it will be NADP plus, means oxidized. So light reaction produces the reduced NADPA, and ATP, and the dark reaction produces fixes the CO2 utilizing these energy molecules. Now biogenesis of chloroplast. Biogenesis of chloroplast, the chloroplast never originates de novo. The new chloroplast formed by fission or division of the previous chloroplast. So it is, the division is like bacteria, fission. But the initial chloroplasts are present in the meristematic cells of the dividing tissue, which are apical meristem and axillary meristem. Such kind of meristem contains proplastid, which through differentiation convert into the chloroplast. So during the development of the chloroplast, first structure that appears in the meristematic tissue is proplastid, which convert into the chloroplast, or it may convert to other kind of plastids also. Next, chloroplast is called semi-autonomous organelle. Why semi-autonomous? Because it have its own genetic material as well as the machinery to produce the protein utilizing that genetic material, that is transcription and translation machinery. So it is semi-autonomous as well as it is endosymbiotic in origin, means it was earlier an independent bacteria which was engulfed by one eukaryotic cell, and it established a symbiotic relation with that cell, and thus it became a part of that eukaryotic cell. So similar is the origin of mitochondria. So chloroplast and mitochondria are both semi-autonomous organelles. So earlier they were independent, but during the course of evolution their genes slowly transferred into the nucleus, and now 90 to 95% of their proteins are